Really quick, everybody, this entire vid will be timestamped, so if you don't want to watch holding and just get straight into a different topic, please check the pinned comment or check the little red bar right down below you. Again, this entire vid will be timestamped, and I'd appreciate you guys watching whatever part that you'd like to. And if you're sticking around, guys, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels, and welcome back to everything that you missed in MMA this week. We cover all the news, whether it's things that you probably missed that are like really small and nobody will care about, from things like something going on to Conor McGregor that everybody would hear about. So if you're interested in this, we do this every single Friday, and I won't talk too much in the intro. It's been over 30 seconds now, but again, timestamps are there if you would need them. Let's get into the takeaways of the last UFC. Now, as always, I want to start off with the fight night takeaways, and there's not too much to take away from this card because so many fights got canceled, especially ones that we were interested in. Tatiana Suarez is back. It looks like she's going to come on strong in the division. A little bit worried about that one, and Brendan Allen looked fantastic. Those are pretty much my only takeaways, though. There was, again, the fights that really mattered got canceled, so that's all I got for you. First thing we have, Francis Ngannou is open to signing with Bellator, open to fighting for Bellator, and Brian Bader was calling him out, so we don't know if there could be something there, but of course, nothing is signed yet. It's just Francis was asked about it, and he's open to the idea. Probably wants $30 million. I don't know if Bellator would pay that, honestly, but Ryan Bader wants to fight him. That would be a really big fight if they threw him into a title fight. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. It's going to be interesting. Moving on, Drew Dober wants Paddy Pimblett. That's going to be a fantastic fight. We talked about it a long time ago. There was rumors that the UFC was making this in the works, and Drew Dober is still pushing for it. So just to let you guys know, the fight is still not official, Drew Dober versus Paddy Pimblett, but Dober is getting a little bit more loud, so maybe there's some problems there. I know Paddy doesn't want to fight until later on in the year. I don't know if I wrote that down that we're going to talk about or if we talked about it a long time ago. Regardless, the fight's not happening yet, but this looks like the UFC is still working on it because Drew Dober is barking about it, and there were rumors that it was in the works. Moving on, we have an update on Jim Miller. Jim Miller looks like he still has it. As we all know, he lost his last fight, but still looked good. He still has it, and if you haven't seen Jim Miller's eyes, there's something really wrong with his eye. I don't remember specifically what he said, but he said that he's not going to stop him from fighting, and he's going to have to live with this, and his eye's still a little bit blurry. Don't know if it's going to actually get cleared. I don't think we had any information on that, but he still wants 3 fights, and he wants to retire at UFC 300. I still hope that happens. He looked great in his last fight. He took a little bit too much damage, but of course, like, it's not like this really old guy fighting. Like, you know, when we saw Cowboy fought, it was obviously that he had absolutely no chance. Jim Miller can still compete, and I really want to see him on UFC 300. That would be like the most wholesome win if he could get a win there but retire. But I don't know, man. Time's ticking. Moving on to Power Slap. I know you guys don't care about Power Slap, but there's a big talk in the MMA community right now because Power Slap is having one of its pay-per-view events now free. It's been changed to a free event, so it looks like that is not doing well. That'd be my guess, at least. I don't know what else we could possibly take away from it. Maybe they want more people to watch it. I don't know. UFC is really pushing this, and one of their events are free now. So are they trying to promote it, or is it just not doing well? I can't imagine that's doing well. I'd be really surprised if I found out it was, but still, we don't have anything on it. Moving on, Dana White was asked about an Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski rematch because the whole world is still talking about it and the whole world still wants to see it, and both guys are open to fighting each other. I know there's a little bit of talk with Islam Makhachev retiring, but he cleaned that up quickly and asked who's next, and Dustin Poirier wanted to fight. Probably not going to happen, but Dana White said that he wants to see, he will rebook it if both fighters defend their title once. So Volkanovski can take care of Yair, and Islam Makhachev, will take care of the winner of Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush, which I hope is Beneil Dariush because that guy, I don't want him to wait anymore. So that fight's happening fairly soon. So I can imagine Islam will fight somewhere around October. Maybe they could have Alexander Volkanovski. That'd be hype. Could you imagine if they had those two on the same card defending their belts? They probably wouldn't do that because they're such big draws in themselves. But that would be so sick. Imagine they both win. That'd be crazy. But Dana White likes the idea of a rematch, and he just wants both fighters to defend the title one time, and he'll book it. Moving on, Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. As we all know, it was the Fight Night main event last week that was canceled. Nikita Krylov fell down with an illness. We don't know what specifically, but it's been rebooked for March, so we're going to see it very soon, and that's pretty much it. I'm excited to see that fight. I don't know if Krylov, I would imagine he's okay. Something looks like it just went wrong. Sucks they're going to have to cut weight again, though, like so soon. Still, fight's rebooked. I'm excited for it. And as you guys all know, we'll barely touch on this one. Sergei Pavlovich is the UFC 285 official backup that came out earlier. There was, for some reason, the UFC wasn't saying who it was, but now it came out, and now we weighed in. He's here. He looks good. He looks huge, by the way, and it looks like everything's okay so far, but still, he's a backup if you're interested and you didn't know that. Got a little bit of PFL news. The PFL is partnering with Proper Number 12. I don't know to what extent. I don't know for how much. I don't think that was mentioned, but proper number 12 is going to be part of the PFL and the UFC now, which is very interesting. I know it's not like really prominent proper 12, but there's always advertisements everywhere, the Octagon and the commercials and stuff like that. So it's interesting that's in the PFL too. I wonder if they'll get into more organizations. Moving on, got a little bit of more of Paddy Pimblett news, and this one I'm not too big of a fan of. Logan Paul wants to fight Paddy Pimblett. I am not a fan of the Paul brothers boxing, and I just don't like that whole influencer boxing scene. I'm not a fan of it myself, but it does numbers, and that's part of MMA news because we're talking about Paddy Pimblett. So what can you do anyways? He wanted to fight, and Paddy Pimblett said he's down to fight and just get off the steroids. And Logan Paul, I can very well see him being juiced up. The dude looks huge. So is the fight going to happen? Absolutely not. But still, it's news for me to tell you guys. Paddy Pimblett is in the talks to fight somebody again. They're not any official talks. You get the point. Oh man, now guys, if you've been watching my channel, we've been talking pretty much every week about Aljamain Sterling. He wants to move to 145 pounds. He expects to move soon, and he wants an immediate shot at the title at Alexander Volkanovski after he beats Henry Cejudo. That's his plan. Definitely not going to happen. Plus, he gets steamrolled at 145. I don't like this idea, but you know what? That's what all the champions want to do, right? It's ambitious, so I got to respect that. But still, like, that's not even going to be a fight. Aljamain Sterling can get better, like, can barely get past these 135ers. Yeah, your Rodriguez will chew him up. Volkanovski, I don't even want to imagine what he would do with him. Now, speaking of MMA fighters, Michael Venom Page is remaining in bare knuckle fighting. If you guys were interested, he's a great fighter. I'm excited to see him. Maybe now that Luke Rockhold's there, and we're going to talk about that soon. Luke Rockhold's in the bare knuckle fighting right now, so that'd be really cool. It's the same weight as Michael Venom Page. I would actually like to see that fight. That'd be interesting. But for those of you who are fans of MVP, he's sticking around in bare knuckle. Now, big news that we haven't talked about yet is Darren Till was removed from the UFC roster. Originally, everybody thought that he got cut, and that was not really surprising, but still, Darren Till's like a big star, so maybe they could keep giving him one more chance. But Darren Till actually asked for his release from the UFC, and the UFC was cool. Darren Till said he's cool with everybody there. He'll be back in the UFC. He needs to sort some stuff out. He then hinted that he was going to move to boxing, so I don't know if he's going to fight Jake Paul or anything like that. But again, it was a little bit of hint. He didn't say anything, just hinted at it with some photos. So I would imagine Darren Till will go box, get some momentum, come back, and then go back in the UFC. I don't know, because he'll be like 33 then. Probably won't be good. Darren Till is going to be one of the tragedies of the sport, probably, as much as I love him. Circling back to Aljamain Sterling, he has been training with Dominick Cruz for his next fight, and I gotta say, I don't know how I feel about this one, because Dominick Cruz, obviously, like, he can help you with the footwork, he can help you to be elusive, he can help you with a lot of things, especially, I guess, for wrestling too, right? He's a very, very good wrestler, but then again, Aljamain Sterling has a great ground game. I don't know. He's training, obviously, because he fought Henry Cejudo. I don't know how much it'll really help him, because Henry Cejudo did well against Dominick Cruz, but Henry Cejudo does well against a lot of fighters, so why not get somebody with experience, I guess? I don't know. I'm not a fighter. I'm not an expert. Well, I'm a fighter, but definitely not this caliber. So you get the point. Who might have really criticized that? It's just an interesting choice for me. So speaking of circling back, let's circle back to Francis Ngannou. Get this one. He's interested and open to a UFC return. How crazy is that? I thought he hated Dana White. I thought he hated the UFC this much, but maybe negotiations with everybody else isn't going so well. I think it was Chael. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Chael I was watching where he was like, this is going to be his next move. He's going to realize that the UFC is home and they treated him the best, and he's going to come back to the UFC. So it's interesting to see if he's openly saying that he could come back to the UFC. They just have to talk about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's going to be crazy if he comes back. Next piece of news I have for you is Paddy Pimblett. Remember we were talking about Paddy Pimblett. He has an ankle injury. He's getting surgery on it and will not fight until the later half of the year. That's what I was talking about when I was saying earlier that we won't see Paddy Pimblett fight, and we don't know what's going on with Drew Dober. Maybe they'll book that fight for later on in the year, but I would imagine Dober would want to get a fight in before that. I don't know. That's a good fight for Dober, though, so maybe he'll wait it out. I don't know. Regardless, I hope he's okay. Big news in bare knuckle. Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold. I'll touch on this very, very briefly because there's not too much about the matchup. It's just interesting. I'm not surprised Mike Perry's there because he's fighting bare knuckle, right? But Luke Rockhold's signed with bare knuckle? That's wild. In boxing, Luke Rockhold isn't exactly the best boxer. He's a great fighter, don't get me wrong. Great fighter. But he uses jiu-jitsu. He uses his kicks. I don't know about just boxing. He'll probably beat Mike Perry because of the size difference. That's why I really wanted to see him fight Michael Venom Page. That would be interesting, and I would imagine MVP would just starch him. But again, very interesting. Rockhold's happy, and he's talking a lot of crap about the UFC, which, come on, man. Also on that card is Chad Mendes versus Eddie Alvarez. I'm so excited for this. I'm a huge Eddie Alvarez fan. I've been waiting to see him fight. Eddie also said that his MMA career is not over, so it's going to be interesting. Maybe he'll do just this one fight and then go back to MMA. Who knows? I don't know if he actually signed with bare knuckle or if he's just having this one fight. Regardless, I'm excited to see Eddie Alvarez. Chad Mendes is okay. Like, I don't hate Chad Mendes or anything. I'm just like, Eddie, man, I am so hyped to see this guy fight. Moving on, Rampage Jackson isn't done with MMA. He signed with a promotion that I've never heard of before. People are saying it's a promotion that I never heard of. And people are saying that it's just a circus show. They just make stupid fights. But he's fighting in some organization, and he's old, and he's not going to do well. But I'm a big Rampage guy. I probably won't watch this one because I've never heard of it again. So there's your news. Rampage Jackson. I didn't even know. Was he retired? I'm not sure. Regardless, he's fighting. Moving back to Paddy Pimblett. Nurullo Aliev has called out Paddy Pimblett. Wants that to be his next fight. Nurullo Aliev just passed his first UFC test. He's been looking good. Has a lot of momentum. He wants to fight Paddy Pimblett now. Actually, I don't mind the matchup, to be honest with you, but still, people really want Paddy Pimblett, eh? Moving on to Valentina Shevchenko's next fight after UFC 285. So Dana White was asked about a rematch with Talia Santos, and he said that Talia Santos does not want to come to America. Didn't say the reason. So what he's going to do, assuming that Valentina Shevchenko wins this weekend, he's going to book her against Erin Blanchfield. That she will get the next title fight. So that's interesting, and that's probably the only one where I can really see giving Valentina problems. I might still pick Valentina again, depending on how she looks this weekend. I have a feeling she's going to pick apart Alexa Grasso this weekend. I'm going to cheer for Grasso because I like her, but still, I would imagine, and even Dana White and the fans are looking past her, so I hope Grasso gets the win, man, but Shevchenko versus Blanchfield looks like it's on the horizon. Moving on, I'll touch on this very quickly, like I said, because I already talked about it. Darren Till hinted that with some photos that he posted that he is going to box, so I don't know if he's going to box Jake Paul, don't know if he's just going to go boxing in general, doesn't want to fight any wrestlers. That's the point. We already spoke about it, but still, news. Moving on, Derek Brunson talked about retirement because, again, I was a little bit surprised to see that he signed to fight and he wants to fight because he was so adamant about having his last fight. He's just been, like, there's nothing really to it. He just said that he has a fire under his butt. He feels good for his age. He still feels like he can compete for the title. He wants to make a run. He wants to get that title. I'll cheer for him, man, but I just can't see it happening. He's probably going to lose this weekend. So if you're interested in Derek Brunson, if you're a fan of his, which I'd say I'm okay. I'm kind of a fan. I like the guy. It's just I'm not like, oh my God, Derek Brunson. You know what I mean? I'll cheer for him. If you're a fan of his, he's still gunning for that title. He wants 3 or 4 fights this year, which is very interesting. I would imagine that's going to change tune after he gets knocked out this weekend. We'll see what happens. Moving on, we got some fight announcements. Charles Johnson's already back against Cody Duran. Charles Johnson, I am becoming a fan of his, man. He is exciting to watch. Arguably could have won his last fight, but coming off of a tough loss on short notice, and now he's getting right back in there immediately. I'm excited. I really want to see this dude fight again. Another fight is Kevin Lee wants to fight Neil Magny. This is not a fight that is booked. It's a call out, and Neil Magny is one of those guys that accepts everything. So Kevin Lee wants to fight him. I can see the UFC actually pairing this one up, especially since Kevin Lee is making his debut at welterweight, I said. And also Sean Brady wanted to fight Kevin Lee, or Kevin Lee called out Sean Brady. One of the two called out each other. That's also in the air there, but it was more so Kevin Lee wants to fight Neil Magny. Sean Brady was just piping in, you know what I mean? So interesting. I can't wait to see that fight. Kevin Lee, I can't wait to see his next fight, And Neil Magny is a really good opponent to get back in there with. Speaking of Charles Johnson, not really. Ode Osborne just beat Charles Johnson. It was a very, very close fight, and I've actually never seen Ode fight before. I thought his name was Ode, so I don't mean to be disrespectful there. Just my point is I've never seen him before. Looked great. He wants to fight Matt Schnell next. He wants to get back in there just like Charles Johnson is getting back there. It'd be cool if both of them win, then they get back into each other's path. That'd be really fun. But still, not a fight that's happening, but it's interesting. Matt Schnell is always exciting. Not the greatest fighter, but still always exciting. I'd like to see this fight a lot. Let's talk about Eddie Alvarez again, because this clip kind of went viral. I'm not going to show you the clip, but Eddie Alvarez was asked on Ariel Helwani's show about Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, and he said it is a complete mismatch. Long story short, he said that Chandler sucks, but there's obviously animosity between the two of them, and Eddie lost to Conor McGregor really bad. He's definitely picking Conor McGregor to win. He said it's a mismatch, which is very interesting because that's coming from a guy who has been in the ring with both of them. So I think it's something that we need to take into consideration when someone like that speaks up. But still, that's how I would expect the fight to go, assuming that Conor McGregor's leg isn't hindering him by any chance. Moving on, a lot of people have been talking about the physique of Jon Jones at heavyweight. How do you think about this, by the way? Jon Jones, he looks okay at heavyweight. He's definitely not looking like man, this guy is looking like Francis Ngannou, but I didn't really expect him to look like that. I expect him to be a little bit roided out, but still, he looks like he's off the juice, to be honest with you. So I don't have too much to say about that. I have a feeling he's going to lose this weekend. Heavyweight's not going to be for him. Tough to tell, but a lot of people have been just talking about his physique. People don't like it. People are like, wow, we waited 3 years for this. That's been the talk, at least. So I thought that was worth telling you guys. We got a random The Ultimate Fighter update, and the only update is there was a screenshot that was posted. It's Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler yelling at each other. So as expected, things are starting to heat up. I can just imagine Conor's taunting the dude. Chandler was probably so respectful, and Conor was just like being himself, making TV. So that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to watch The Ultimate Fighter. Moving on today, the UFC announced their International Fight Week. It is at the Las Vegas Convention Center from July 7th to 8th, and UFC 290 will be at the T-Mobile Arena on July 8th. I'm excited for that card. I'm excited for what it could be. There are so many fighters that aren't fighting right now. Maybe Volkanovski. That'd be really cool. This international fight week has a lot of potential. So I'm hyped for it. They have an official date, place, and they're probably going to start announcing fights soon. I cannot wait for it. Moving on, another fight announcement, Montel Jackson versus Ronnie Yahya, and I apologize, I always mispronounce that guy's name, but it's an interesting fight. Montel Jackson's always fun to watch fight, right? And was Ronnie the one scheduled with Cody Garbrandt? Could be wrong about that one, but still, something to note. Moving on, this one's a little bit sad. Daniel Cormier was just done dirty by the UFC. He was on the ESPN desk, and a little thing came up that I thought was a meme, but then it ended up being real, where it says, when Daniel Cormier started talking, there was a little, like, what do you call it? The third screen, the thing that comes up with a message while Daniel Cormier is talking, and it said that he's only allowed to be there because John Jones approved it. It's like, what? Daniel's probably going to be so butthurt by that, understandably so, but oh my god, I can't believe they actually wrote that on screen. I thought it was a meme. So if you guys see that, that's real. Moving on again, Jessica Andrade versus Yan Xiaonan, and I always say her name wrong too. Yeah, UFC 288 got announced. Jessica Andrade getting right back in there, and she's gonna steamroll Yan. That's just a complete mismatch. You want to talk about Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler mismatches? This is a mismatch. Jessica Andrade, I'm definitely gonna be betting on that one. And guys, before we close the video out today, because that's all the news that you missed this week, I have my UFC 285 preview. I just take a minute or two to talk about it now. As far as the updates are, weigh-ins are not done yet. I'm looking at my phone right now. I have notifications on from so many things. Jeff Neal actually missed weight, which was very interesting. He missed weight by 4 pounds. So I wonder if the dude's going to be okay. Thank God I bet on Shavkat, because I was on one of those guys that was like, hey, don't be surprised if Jeff Neal pulls it off, which he still could, but still having a tough weight cut. I don't like this, especially if you're fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov, right? Oof, that's not good. That's not good. And as far as I know, as of right now, but again, weigh-ins aren't done by the time I'm recording this video. Probably going to take a while to process on YouTube. Everybody else made weight. So, looks okay. Plus, actually, speaking of weight, Cody Garbrandt looks pretty healthy. So, that's an interesting note, too. I have a feeling Cyril Gane's going to win. Valentina Shevchenko's going to win. I can't wait for Shavkat Rakhmonov to fight. The card is fantastic, guys. You cannot miss this one. But, guys, with that being said, that has been everything that you missed in UFC this week. Thank you so much for watching. We do this every single Friday. So, if you're interested, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And if you don't hit the notification bell, expect this on Friday. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you are new here and enjoy the content, please consider like button will help the channel a ton. And subscribe if you are brand new. Check the description down below for links to all my other channels. If you want to hear more fight talk about anything MMA related, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. And, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.